Hi, come on, welcome to Titli's Busy Kitchen with me, Titli. So far you've seen me bake the cake, feed the cake, put marzipan on the cake. Well, today comes the really fun part, icing and decorating the cake. So here's my cake. The marzipan is a lot drier than it was, and the first thing I'm going to do is transfer it to this board, which is 10 inches diameter, which is perfect for my 8-inch cake. So I'll just carefully lift it. Just make sure it's nicely centered on the board. Lovely. Now I've got a pound of fondant icing here. I always buy mine. If you want to know how to make it yourself, there are plenty of recipes out there. First thing I'm going to do is liberally dust a surface with some icing sugar, and then knead the icing until it's nice and soft and pliable. Once it's nice and pliable, you can see this is, I'm going to liberally dust the surface again with icing sugar. And just like I did with the marzipan, I'm going to roll it out into a disc. It's about 12 inches in diameter. Yep, I reckon we're looking pretty good again. Now I'm going to brush the cake with water that's been boiled and allowed to cool slightly. This is going to stick the fondant icing onto the marzipan. Make sure you do the sides as well. Just wipe up any splashes with a bit of kitchen roll. Now, just as with the marzipan, use a rolling pin to help you get the icing off the countertop. Lovely. Then pop it onto the cake. Smooth it down. And then trim away any excess icing, just like we did for the marzipan. Take your leftovers and knead them into a nice smooth ball. Just pop it to one side for the minute. Now, I've got these two rather funky tools. This one is a cake smoother, very cheap, just a bit of plastic, and this one is a squarer, again, just a bit of plastic. I'm going to use this to smooth out the surface of the cake. Then I'll use my square to square up and smooth the sides. Oh, quite pleased with that. Now I don't know whether you can see, but I've got a little air bubble here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a needle, push it in diagonally, and then push the air out through that little hole, and then smooth. Right, I'm quite happy with that now. Now, here comes the really fun part. You can decorate this however you want. So, for example, I could put in a pine tree, very wintry, a skating teddy bear, Santa Claus, ice skating. Oh, get him upright, there we go. And the courtesy car that the garage gave to Santa when his reindeer went in for service. Alternatively, I could make some holly leaves and berries. So I'm going to take a portion of the remaining fondant icing and I'm going to colour that red for some berries, maybe a bit more. And this one I'm going to colour green for the holly leaves. So I'll just press it out a bit. I've got some green food colouring here. I'm going to use a cocktail stick to just blob some colouring on. And then I'll knead this together, make sure the colour goes all the way through the icing. Oh, isn't this fun? Oh, better move that out of the way, don't want that becoming green. Bit more icing sugar, then knead it into that, because it's becoming a little bit sticky and I don't want the icing to be sticky. But you do need to knead this really well, get the colour all the way through. Eventually the icing should be a nice uniform colour and quite soft. Now I'll do the same with this other little piece. Here I've got some nice strong red food colouring. Once again I've got a nice uniformly coloured piece of fondant icing. Now I'll go and wash my hands. So having cleaned off my surface, I'm going to dust it liberally again with icing sugar, and then I'll roll out my green dough. So I've rolled the dough out to about 2 millimeters thick, and I'm just going to cut out some leaf shapes. Okay, I'll pull all the waste together, scrunch it up into a ball. So I've now got a load of leaf shapes. Now to turn them into holly, I'm going to take one of these and just cut some little jagged edges into it. And there we are. It's not the world's greatest holly leaf, but hey, I'm not the world's greatest artist. Now I'll pick this up, just brush the underside with a little bit of my boiled and cooled water, then stick it on the side of the cake. Then I'll carry on with the rest of my holly leaves. Now, I know that there'll be people out there who are watching this video who will want to make the comment, your holly leaves aren't very good at all. Well, guess what? I don't give a what you think of my holly leaves, and neither does anybody else who's got more than 2 brain cells. I'm having fun. So here's my cake. I've put some holly leaves around the edge and put a splattering on the top as well. Next thing I need to do is to make some little berries for my holly, so I'm going to pick off little bits of the red fondant and roll them into balls. So here are all my little berries, and all I have to do is stick them onto the cake with little dabs of water. Dab. Pop into place. Of course, the great thing about putting shapes on the top here is you can cover up any imperfections in the underlying icing. That's the top. Now I just need to do the sides. And the last thing I'll do is just put some little indentations in the leaves to look like the veins, make them look more like leaves rather than Christmas trees. So there's my Christmas cake for 2012. It's not a work of art, but then it's not meant to be. Now I know that some of you are expecting this cake to be dry and full of mushrooms and beetles and worms because it's several weeks old now, but let's just cut a slice and have a look. By the way, this is how you eat it, in thin slices. Ooh, look at that, yes! Now see how the cake is lovely and moist, it's soft, there's no sign of any mould or creatures in here. Just break a piece off, see how it bends and doesn't snap. Moist, sweet, hint of citrus, hint of spice, marzipan, icing, all come together in this wonderful fusion of flavours. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make my Christmas cake this year. I've certainly enjoyed myself, as I do every year, and it's always worth the effort. Do join me next time in Titli's Busy Kitchen with me, Titli Nihan. Until next time, Khuda Hafiz! Khuda